Okay guys, welcome back. Today I'm gonna help you out with your flare where a lot of people have trouble, especially the beginners, but even the people that already have the flare, this can help you out so much. So what I usually see when people do the flare, and I'm no exception to this, usually entering the flare, no problemo, and then as soon as the other hand touch, they have a lot of trouble. For instance, I have students that can do the flare, but in the back their legs are closed, right? Their legs close way more than in the front, etc. So today we're gonna work on something that can help you out so much with flare and help you out even if you're struggling with flare. So usually the reason that is so easy is because you're actually strong on your dominant hand. In my case, that's the right hand. And I'm actually quite weak on the left hand, but we're gonna use freezes to help us out. Pretty much all power moves you can work with freezes to help you out. So in this case it's no exception, but we're actually going to use freezes that you normally don't think about when you do the flare. So I'm right-handed, as you know, I just told you, and doing freezes on this hand, no problemo, right? But we need to do the other hand, and we start with the simple turtle freeze. So we're going to place this in our belly, lean forward, open the legs, and try to tense them as much as you can and as open as you can. So you need to stretch, obviously. For flare, it's a given, right? So we're going to first use the turtle freeze, and I'll show you guys how to do that. But you also need good side and air chairs on the weak hand if you want to do really well. But first, let me explain with the turtle freeze. So I'll just enter the flare right now. So if you cannot enter, or you have a lot of trouble with entering the flare, there's actually a little bit different thing that you can do. But even then, you can use those freezes. So if I'm in the freeze, you can actually just hang on that arm, or you can leave this exactly on the shoulder, completely pushed out. And if you just jump in the air, it will pivot forward, see that? So you can actually use freezes on the right arm too, which is something else that I want to talk about today. I might do another video on this, because if you have very good control, you can use this. Usually you can transition easy from flare, even if your other arm is a little bit weak. Today we're going to talk about the left arm, right? So, entering the flare, and instead of leaning sideways or trying to go into normal the flare, but I'm just going to lean forward into that freeze. So this is my flare, and I'm going to lean forward into that freeze, right? Now while we do that, we just told you to tense the legs and open them as much as possible. You also do this. Now when we do this, what will happen is this. You enter, you lean forward into that freeze right there. If I don't do this and I try to just do it with a straight arm, well, I can flare of course, but let's say you're a beginner, then this happens. Or something like that, especially this leg. See that it's on the floor, so even if you keep it here, as soon as you place this hand, it touches the floor. So you need to learn how to keep your arms open. That's why this is also a great method to work with. So basically you just lean forward into the turtle freeze on the left arm, and the better that freeze is, of course, the better it is, right? So that's actually what you kind of do. And then as you lean into that freeze, you actually can push out of it. So if you wonder how to do that, I also did the tutorial once. It's just popping out of your freeze like that. So I'm here in that flare, I lean forward and I make this little pop motion with my body to go out of that freeze. Because if you stay in the freeze, well, you have many options to play with that flare, of course. But it's going to be hard to do multiples because you have to catch up from low. It's not impossible. Many people can do this, right? But just saying, as a beginner, just lean into the freeze and then maybe work a little bit on popping out of it on the tricep. If you stay on the tricep, there's no problem. So, that's the turtle freeze. It's not the best way, because the best way is actually in the air chair and the side freeze on the left arm. But this works already. And for beginners, usually, of course, well, on the dominant arm they might be able to side freeze in air chair, but on their weak arm, usually not. Just keep working at it, right? The stronger these freezes are, I said this many times, the stronger your moves will be, and the stronger the playing will be after you master the moves, right? So you can already do the flare, and you can do all these freezes in the flare. You can play the crazy stuff, right? So it's a very good method. So that was the turtle freeze, and you see it work, right? Just lean in. Now I'll just do the same one, but use this little push out. It's easier than you think. You just lean in and just make this little snapping motion in your body while you do that same lean towards the freeze. So when I do it, lean out, right? And then actually look, my arms stay actually completely straight. That's because I try to lean in and immediately push out, and that works fine. So the turtle freeze is pretty easy for beginners. Just spam it. You need to get strong in both arms. I always neglected this as a beginner, and in hindsight, you know, like of course hindsight is a bitch, but man, what I needed, right? Train both arms, get strong in both arms. So side freeze. So the side freeze is with your head on the floor like this, right? And you can actually leave this head like on the floor, and you need to span this. But because we do the flare, we cannot use that one. We're just gonna do the same. Leave the hand on the floor, but lean forward and even a little bit up while we do the same. So it's this. Really? This is side freeze right here. This is better than the turtle freeze. Even better is the air chair. But you know, I suck really, really badly in air chair on the left side. But I need to strain this because it's so easy. And you can actually rest on that part where normally you exert a lot of energy in the flare, right? So you can also increase the numbers of flares that you can do simply by using this. But that's the side freeze. Train it as much as you can. Try to open the legs as much as you can. You know, if you can grab it and do really, really good freezes, then implement this in your flare. Now, how does it work? Well, you would think I would lean to the side now. No, I still lean forward. So simply enter the flare, but instead of leaning into the turtle, where my body stays flat, I actually lean into the side freeze like this. And this is a little bit better, but you lean forward. So it's like flare, there's that side freeze. And this will, it's a little bit better for now than going to the side. But if you have it mastered, you know, you can do it how you want. Normally when I flare, I'm really not going forward with my arm, of course, I just do this, right? But in this case, you just lean into that side freeze. And that's what we're going to do today. Yet again, open legs a necessity, so you train to go into an open-legged side freeze. Entering the flare, lean in the side freeze, right there. Yeah, so when you look at me, you maybe don't see it. So why is that? Well, because I'm only going on the tricep muscle. So good air chairs only on the tricep, not on the point, right? These guys, they have this mastered, they have awesome combos. But you can just lean into it, that's enough. So once you can do that, same thing as you just said, you can just push out. And yet again, it's less hard than you think. In speed and motion, these push out is not that hard. You lean and push. But your legs stay open automatically. You don't even focus so much on kicking. You're just focusing on going onto that freeze and pushing out. So that will help a lot with the flare, guys. Just use this technique, and I suggest you use it even if you already got the flare, so you got more possibilities to play. But it's going to help you out so much, and it can open your legs, especially for beginners, right? Because they usually can do, like, I have students that can do actually a lot of flare, but their legs crumble. So opening the legs, very good to do. Leaning into side freeze and going, right? From there, we can work on air chair. Now air chair is in the back like this. It is even better. You can do that one to really push into next level moves. So guys, that's it. Hope it helps you out. See you next time.